Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. It's a pleasure to be with you wherever you may be joining us from. We are broadcasting live to Facebook and YouTube if you are on the Anne and Renata YouTube page. And if you are watching live, comment and let me know where you're listening from. My name's Katie Moore and I'm your tour guide on tonight's journey. And if you wish to join me, we have open lines tonight. The number is 0730403096, and you'll find the number at the bottom of the screen if you're watching this live. You can call in and share your strange and unexplainable stories. And Renata, it is good to be back.
It is. We had some trouble finding some time that we could do this. Friday nights for us are normally our working night, and it was like, oh, we're never going to get a Friday night. And I spotted it the other week and I've got Cade. We've got a night off.
I think we tried to tee this up about 6 months ago.
Yep.
Probably about right. Mm-hmm.
But you guys, you have been doing like so many events. You're just telling me off the air that you're basically booked out for the rest of your lives with tours and events, and
that's correct.
Things like
and
that.
After that, we've sold our soul to the devil. So we're actually booked up for the afterlife as well.
We're taking a busload of these guys watching too, by the way.
and that's it. Tonight
it's our final tour.
I highly doubt that. I think you guys have got so many more in the tank. But that's one thing to kind of point out tonight is that we are kind of broadcasting to a couple of different outlets. So we're broadcasting to your audience, we're broadcasting to my audience, and hopefully they all play along nicely. Otherwise, they're in the naughty corner.
And one of our listeners watches tonight is Erin, and it is her birthday. So big shout out to Erin. Happy birthday, gorgeous one.
Happy birthday, Erin.
Happy birthday to you.
Does anyone have any sound effects for like a birthday over there?
I don't know. I've got a applause. That's about it.
Yeah, I think as good as I got right there.
You've got a Roadcaster as well, huh?
Yeah, sure do. It's quite funny. I've gone through like 3 of these Roadcasters.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it's really odd because they only break after I talk to Attila. When I do interviews with Attila, really, really weird things happen to all my equipment. And I am sure the Rode support and warranty team absolutely hate me because honestly, I've got so many of these. It's ridiculous, and every single one of them has been at least sent back once or twice.
Well, we have an issue when we do our lives. If we say a certain word about a certain sort of creature that starts with the letter F, that's F for Fred, because as soon as we say it, the lines drop out or the computers die and we lose cameras, and it's just those little winged buggers, honestly.
It's weird, isn't it?
We started as a joke, and oh yeah, every time we say that, and then it started happening every time. Oh, Shane, no.
Oh.
No. That can go on at your house, Shane.
I'm not watching. I'm not
crazy.
seeing it. Therefore, it hasn't happened. It's fine.
So you genuinely, you get like little critters in the machines. It's weird. I don't know why it happens. It's maybe it's just part of this weird spooky world.
Absolutely. It's very weird and spooky, and getting weirder and spookier.
It is, isn't it? See what's going on there?
What was that?
I don't know. I seriously don't know. Might have been one of my piles of doom.
Yeah. So look, guys, I want to let the listeners know that we're also looking at doing some tarot card readings, and you guys inform me that you only do this once a month now. So this is a super treat for I guess your watchers, because you only did a tarot calling show. Oh well, you actually just an all tarot show last night, but this is a really unique opportunity to call in and ask for a reading, which last time we did this, I do believe it went pretty nuts, because you've got some super fans, which is really cool.
We do. We have awesome
We
fans.
have the best
They are
fans in the world.
so faithful and supportive.
Have you got that, the one we got from Maxine?
Yes,
I'll show you
find
what
it.
one of our super fans actually made us. It's absolutely gorgeous. It took her about two months to make.
It's in a very safe place.
It's in a very safe place. You might like to have a discussion before we actually find that.
Yeah. So
We've actually been working since probably about 4 o'clock this afternoon, so we're a bit all over the place getting things ready. As you know, that if you go away, things don't stop. You have to still continue to prepare and have podcasts and things ready. And we don't like leaving our fans waiting for too long. We haven't actually had a break. I think the only break we've had over the last 12 months or so was a week or two off at Christmas time. But we try and bring something out every week. So we just have to make sure that we've prepped beforehand so that we have a few episodes up our sleeve while we're away.
yeah, absolutely. I feel for you. I feel super lazy hearing that because I do 10 episodes a season and then I'll take 6 weeks off at the end of that season. So I'm like 10 on, 6 off. And
I don't know how you manage that. I honestly don't.
I've already got all of next season recorded. It's in the bank. It's ready to rock and roll. So yeah, not all the editing's done, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. It's a lot of work. And now I'm actually looking for people for season 19 of the podcast. So
Wow.
if your listeners are keen to share some unusual stories, absolutely get in touch with me because I'm always on the lookout. And I do apologize for my terribly slow response rate for emails because, as you know, when you're a one-man team, everything is just a little bit harder to do all at the same time.
Absolutely.
I have found it. It's at Renata's feet.
Oh, it is too. All right, okay. Here it is. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Right?
So that's diamond art.
That's crazy.
I'll bring it up closer so you can see
it's
it.
our little logo.
I'll have to get
That's super cool.
Let's try and get it off the lights.
I can only imagine the man hours that goes into making something like that because you guys you've got a really, really detailed logo. So
yeah. I don't know how she did it. So I think she sent it away and they made it into a pattern for her.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. That's so cool.
Yeah. And we had Daniela make us a beautiful blanket because when we did our True Hauntings podcast live show where we performed it in front of an audience, it was in the middle of winter in Maitland Jail and we just about froze our bits off. So she's made us a little throw knee cover each. And we've had some...
I don't want to say that's for old ladies, but...
Hello, have you looked at us? Particularly that one. She's great.
Shut up.
I am too, but I've got a daughter that's a hairdresser and apparently I have to look decent. So I'm the mother of a hairdresser.
Right.
No, fair enough. So look, you guys are about to embark on another kind of world tour. It's not so much a world tour, but you are going to some rather interesting places because you recently just did your trip over to the UK, I believe, and you kind of visited every good haunted location and every naughty location or a city with a naughty name, which I think is brilliant.
Yes, we started off with Shitterton, and we worked out how that town got its name because it did smell exactly like that.
Wow.
And we ended up in Muff. Muff in Northern Ireland. And did you know that they've actually got a distillery there? So they have Muff liquor.
Oh my god.
Not only that, but they've got a
diving club there
a really well-known scuba diving club.
Yeah.
So you can join the Muff Diving Club if you want to.
You're taking the piss, surely.
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not.
No.
I brought my son back a bottle of Muff liquor, and you can look it up online right now. The Muff Diving Club is there, and you can become a member.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
I got a nice T-shirt for my husband, which had "I love Muff" on it, and it had County Donegal underneath it,
In
so that
teeny weeny letters.
you knew where it came from.
Teeny weeny letters. And Anne forgot she had her T-shirt on one time and went to the local shopping centre. I think people nearly died.
Oh, but I've worn some of Isaac's T-shirts down there as well,
yeah.
with the moist written all over it.
I was actually going to wear your shirt here tonight, but as I was telling you before we kind of went on the air here, I had a bit of a crazy afternoon, but yeah, I was very keen to wear it. And my wife, while she loves you guys, she hates me wearing that kind of stuff out in public. So I try to do it as much as possible, of course.
Right. Right. So our next trip actually, and we're still producing clips from that first tour, and there's a little bit of story behind that. We're going to have somebody else do the little YouTube videos and everything for us, but I think that particular person had a mental breakdown
when they saw the quality of our filming.
And they just stopped talking to us completely.
Oh,
and it took
oh no, they didn't. We just, because the person who was going to do for it actually works in TV and film, and they were going to put it together, and they tried to teach us how to do things, but you'd sort of learn as you go. And then when you watch watch the rushes, you watch what you filmed, and then you go, oh, I didn't realize that when I was walking around with the other camera, my microphone was still hooked up to your camera. So I'm talking on this camera, which is then being picked up on that camera while you're talking about something completely different. And then there was always the thing, like you're holding the camera and you're looking out at what's happening. In the meantime, the camera's drooping down and then you only see us from here. So they gave up. But we're very lucky that cousin Steve has taken it on and he's making it into something.
He's doing a fabulous job.
I wouldn't call it a silk purse. It's definitely a sow's ear, but maybe a calico purse.
But you know what? I think any content's good content, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are going to unique places around Ireland and all of those places.
Sorry, I'm still eating a bit of dinner as I'm going. I'm being very rude here.
Not everyone's going to get to Muff.
No.
And we've been able to show them.
Some people will never be able to face going that far.
No.
It is right as far as you can go. It took us a long time to get there.
It did.
I hope there's no children watching. Sorry, we are very naughty.
We drove for hours, completely lost. But
just out of curiosity, was it north or south?
North.
Oh well, that's better.
But they did have a beautiful ice cream shop as soon as we crossed the border of Muff.
Yep.
Lickalicious, I think it was called.
Lickalicious.
You know what? I do love that. If you're going to go all in on it, you go all in on it. And
absolutely.
We embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's going to boot us off the show shortly. It's okay. I've actually got control of it, so it's all good.
That's right. It's not my stream tonight. We're using yours.
Yeah, so where are we going? We're going over. Don't do that. You make me cough. We're going over to Ireland first.
Yes.
We're going to land in Dublin, and I think the first thing we've got booked in is a visit to Glasnevin Cemetery, which is massive. I've never seen a cemetery as big as this place, and it's full of the Celtic crosses, and they've got big towers and monuments. It's truly beautiful, and they have good coffee and a coffee shop and a gift shop, which makes Renata happy.
Yes.
Then we're heading over to where are we going? Charleville Castle, which we did one of our podcasts on. We talk about the ghosts that are there. So we're actually going to be having private time in the castle. We've booked it for a couple of hours. We're making a donation to the castle. And we're going to go in and film with our black T-shirts on, and everything will be demonic. No, we will be honest and just go and enjoy the castle because we run tours. we're normally up the front and we're leading people and entertaining people and teaching people, and it's very difficult for us to go into an environment like a castle and just be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for your input, Renata.
Oh,
Great. So then that night we're actually going to be staying at Knitty Castle,
Yes.
which I wish we could have timed it a little bit better, but it was the only way we could get to it. Now, Knitty Castle is an old Gothic castle, and that was a little bit of a treat. I decided that I really wanted to stay there, so I booked it and paid for it. So the company's not doing that. That's that was my need. I don't know when I'm going to get to Ireland next. Oh, I should too. And then we've got Redwood Castle.
Yes.
That one of the local teams has helped us get into, and we're going to be staying there or working there the next night.
Yep.
But we're also meeting
With
up
the
with
team,
Danielle.
which will be great.
Which one?
Yeah, with the team.
Yeah.
So there's a Irish team that we're going to be collaborating with. So that'd be great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what's
yes,
that?
and well,
Oh, do you go on
sorry.
like ghost hunts or investigations, anything like that?
Oh, well, we are going to be working at Redwood Castle together. So it'll be great to see them do their thing. And I guess that they'll be quite interested to see what the old ladies from Australia can do. So, we'll be probably showing them a few things that we know how to do. And then where are we going after that? So it's Redwood. We're going to
No, well, hang on. Before we leave Ireland, we're going to the Mound of Hostages.
the Hill of Tara. So we're going to visit a very historic and ancient site that is associated with the Kings of Ireland.
Way older than the pyramids.
Way older than the pyramids. So we're going to have a look at it. We're not planning investigations or anything there, but just to actually just take in the energy of the site. And the Kings of Ireland were crowned on the Hill of Tara. And
really?
they have mounds around the area. One called the Mound of, what was the one that you did?
Mound of Hostages.
Mound of Hostages, yeah.
And you had the pillar of something. What was yours?
I don't know.
I can't remember. We've been doing stories on it because we're pre-recording our Spooky Sunday show so that our beautiful people will still get content while we're gone. And we covered some of these on our the podcasts that are coming up, so people will be able to listen to them.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I totally forgot that you guys do the Spooky Sundays radio show.
Yeah.
Which is you're just absolute machines. I don't know how you do it. All these tools.
We've got a third podcast now.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're suckers for punishment.
Yeah, we are. We do Diary of a Ghost Hunter, but that one can be a little bit sporadic. We try to do it weekly, but we just try to show people what it's actually like to be a ghost hunter and what happens in our week. The people that contact us for help, the dramas we may have within teams, the complaints we have with tours, little questions that will pop up that we think would be interesting to share with people. So yeah, that's chugging along. We're almost cracking the 500 downloads a week on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to get it up to that 500 so that we can get it monetized.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone who's watching this or listening to this, absolutely go over there and check that out. That sounds super cool. I'm going to go listen to that because that's the things that really intrigues me about people like you is the fact that this is just like your normal day. This is your profession. And for most people, I think that is really hard for them to wrap their head around. So a podcast like that, I think, would provide some rather interesting insight into what a normal day is, because I think your normal day is probably someone's worst nightmare, depending on the type of things that you're dealing with.
It's really interesting when we have private cases because you see a lot of TV shows and it's always dramatic and there's evil entities in the house, but more often than not, it is trauma within the family that has come out in a different way. It's manifested in a different way, whether it be actual human behavior or kinetic type of abilities, repressed feelings, trauma, tragedy, heartbreak, grief. It's generally that is the core of it all.
People are asking 1,001 questions, and they could be anything from, I need to get in contact with my mother who passed 2 weeks ago. I'm stressed out, and I just need to find something out about, I need to tell her something, for example. Or someone might ring up and say, look, some weird and strange things are going on. Can you help? Because I think my house is haunted. But beyond that, and as we mentioned before we came on, it's a work that's required to put all of these things out consistently that you don't get paid for. That is just everyday stuff where you're sitting on the laptop and you're researching things, you're getting podcasts together, you're answering questions, you might be writing articles, and that takes hours and hours and hours. And of course, we've decided to do that. We kind of knew. I mean, we add more stuff to what we already do, so we're quite aware of that amount of work that we do. But we kind of believe that it's all part of how we present ourselves as paranormal investigators. It's not just we head out on a Friday night and do an investigation. We are, as you said, doing this 7 days a week.
Yeah. And do you find that you get a lot of blowback from that, from like say other researchers and stuff like that? And not to like try start, like a a war or anything, but you see this a lot in like the Yowie world, in the UFO world, where people who are saying they're all researchers and things like that. There's this like level of bitterness that really sours the whole thing. And these might be guys who are just trying their best or whatever to go out there on weekends, but someone like yourself who are busting your asses basically day in, day out, nearly 24 hours a day, do you find that you get any blowback from, say, that, I don't know if community would be the right word, but that field of being, I don't know, too over the top or anything like that?
It's not so much anymore. We used to
a lot. I mean, we got ourselves in a lot of trouble a couple of years ago by trying to help out, by trying to save things that were literally going down the tube. And we got a lot of harsh criticism because people thought, oh, how can you do things in such a short period of time? How can you make things work? We can make things work because we've been doing this for 10 years straight and we have contacts and we know what to do. Like, we didn't just arrive yesterday and started to do it. So it's this build-up of knowledge. And I don't think, like, we don't really get a lot because we keep our heads down and just keep working.
Or we make fun of the people who mock us.
Yeah.
We don't make fun of them. We
make light.
Yeah, we make light, or we will go, they'll say, oh, you're just being, it's your ego. We'll go, yeah. So don't
tell me your black T-shirt and the stuff that you have on the side of your car isn't ego. Don't tell me that.
Oh, we did cop a bit of flack over the Australian Ambassador Award.
Yeah.
So there were some people who thought that it should be judged by the community and it should be vetted and this. It was run by an American company, and then we were accused of setting up the awards ourselves so that we could win the said awards. And really, it's a very small little thing that somebody was just trying to do to recognize people who are working hard in the industry, and it's called the Paranormal Awards. And we won. All we wanted to win was the Australian Ambassador Award, because we were doing shows twice a week to America and England and Canada, and we felt that we were representing Australia by sharing knowledge and working our freckles off. And there were people that didn't think that we were professional, and they started bantering around the word professional as if we're not professional, although we make our living in this industry. So for that, to me, we are professional.
It's the exact
and other people are saying, oh, we don't make any money out of this, but we're professional. And Well, you can act in a professional manner, but that's different to being professional in the industry. So who knows? We won it for 2 years, and this year Amy's Crypt won it, and I think she is absolutely deserving. There's no one better in Australia to win that. That girl also works her freckle off with her hubby.
Absolutely, yeah. They've dedicated their life to doing all of this and sharing it, so why not? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The like, if you honestly think that someone's going to go out of their way to set up an event like this to involve everyone around the world within that community to win this slither of it for Australia, makes no sense.
Well, there you go. But it happened.
But you know what? Common sense isn't that common, as I I increasingly remind myself.
Yeah, one thing I did discover, and I'm trying to make it an awareness within the paranormal community, that there is a word that's bandied around, and it's called para-unity. And it's where we're all supposed to band together and be one big community and all get on and look after each other, which is a wonderful idea. But there are so many different belief systems within this field, and a lot of them go head to head. But I found that some teams use it as a weapon, that if you are not following the way they think it should be done, they'll say you aren't being, part of the paranormal unity or the para-unity thing. You're trying to stir the pot. You're being egotistical. And it's actually just a weapon to try and get you to do it the way they want to. So anyone that waves that para-unity around, I think, okay, what is it you're trying to force people to do?
Yeah. And I guess that's the hard thing when it comes to researching like these really niche types of areas, is that there's no kind of scientific handbook on how to do it. Really, the only thing that is getting any type of like credence in the scientific world at the moment is UFOs, and that's only because the US Senate is starting to take UFOs a lot more seriously, and they're doing a lot more inquests. You know, they're pumping millions and millions of dollars into it. How effective it is anyone's guess, but that just shows you that I think last year they pumped $22 million into this UFO research program, and in the grand scheme of things, like what came out of it to the public was like I think it was a 12-page document that basically said, yeah, we don't know what these are, and they're flying around. And at the end of the day, that was $22 million. You try to translate that to the paranormal, which, God, like, how do you even start to write an A to Z handbook on that and make sure it's all uniform for everyone's perspective? Like, it's impossible.
Yeah, that is true.
Parapsychology is not doing too bad as well. With I know the University of Edinburgh is still hooking into things over there, and some of the American Ryan Institute and those places as well. What's the one that Lloyd's with? There's another one as well. I can't remember what it is now. But the problem is, if anyone who is in the scientific world starts to look down this path of this the power of the human mind and being able to use your mind to manipulate the environment around you, they just immediately get labeled as crazy people. And there have been scientists who have admitted that they've done some tests on things that have shown some of this psi ability, but they very quickly tuck it away and don't let it be seen, because if it came out at all that they'd had some sort of effect from this psi ability, then they would immediately be shut down and labeled as lunatics. So there are things that are being discovered and found, and it's being hidden because they're all too frightened of losing their jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely see that, because I will kind of anchor this to something that I have an ounce of knowledge about, and that's kind of the UFO world. And it took over 60, 70 years for UFOs to really start be taken, I guess, not as a joke in the general zeitgeist, because the zeitgeist and for those who don't know what the zeitgeist is just think popular culture. That if you saw a UFO, you're crazy, you're high, you're drunk, you're on mushrooms or whatever. And these days, it's really the stigma starting to be broken down. That no, you're not seeing things. They're not kind of just loonies who see UFOs. Oh, we have a call.
Got a call.
Let's get.
We have a call.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Caller, what's your name and where you're from?
Hello, Kate. It's Shane.
G'day, Shane. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Hi, Ian and Renata.
Hi, Shane.
Hi, Shane.
Yeah, so, on the subject of UFOs becoming more popular with the US Senate and all those inquiries, I'm a little bit suspect about that. I'm worried that they're going to use it as a device to do a fake invasion and tell people you need to move out of where you live and go to our special safe cities where you can be protected from the invasion.
What's this called?
Anyway,
this has got a name.
Sorry?
It's got a name, this movement. I can't remember what it's called, but it's Project something.
I don't know exactly, but it's to do with the 15-minute cities, I think. I'm a bit worried about that. Anyway, I don't like it. But, I mean, what can we do about it? Now, if you want to keep talking on that, you can, but I actually got some questions for the ladies.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted Anne to show her toys, her ghost hunting toys. And
how many? I've got a whole wall of them back there.
I knew it. The electric ones that buzz.
Rechargeable.
The rechargeable. Yeah. No. All right, try and be serious now. Because I see them on your ghost hunts with Isaac Butterfield and all your little ghost hunts you do, and it's like you don't explain how they work and what they do exactly. You just do a very quick overview. So yeah, even if you done a special, if you don't do it tonight, even if you done a special where you showed one per week or something. So that's what I was thinking. But also,
absolutely.
I can't think of the tool that you use, but it's at Maitland Jail, and there was one or two other investigations. You used something where you and Renata put on headphones, and you listened to background noise where it's like a radio station tuning through, and you get certain words. What's that thing called?
That's called a spirit box.
Oh, okay, the spirit box. Okay. But it's one where you can't hear each other and you can't hear the people asking the questions, yet a ghost or whatever generates a sound and a word, and you girls say the same words.
So what that's called is the experiment with the headphones is actually called the Estes method, and it was developed by a team up in Estes Park, where that hotel is that I stayed at, and I can't remember what it's called now.
Stanley.
Sorry?
Stanley Hotel?
Yep, that's the one. And the idea was that by putting the headphones on and listening to that chatter that's coming through the radio box, is that you're blocking out any influences from the outside of what people are talking about or what the questions are. And we always use an example where I say to the people, can you tell us what jail cell you're in? And everyone's looking around waiting for the number because they know it's going to be a number. So the person, if they heard that question, would be listening for a number. So it becomes the power of suggestion. So by putting headphones on, they can't hear the question, and they should actually all be saying the same word. If they're listening to radio chatter coming through, they're all listening to the same sweep. They're all hearing the same words pop at the same time. So if the word brown comes through, then everyone should be saying the word brown. But some of them don't. Some of them say different words, because my theory is that while they're listening to that chatter, they've given permission to the spirit world to talk to them. They're listening for the words that spirit has to say. So spirit goes, well, this is my opportunity to talk to them mind to mind. So it becomes telepathic. So we sometimes will have people who will start saying something completely different, and it answers the
Oh.
questions that we're asking. And that is when it becomes really interesting.
I wonder if that's what happened, because towards the end of that session in Maitland Jail, Renata was hearing a spirit come through of a relative of a person that was in the room doing the investigation that night. I won't name who it was, but obviously we know who it
Oh,
was.
Claire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on the glass dowsing.
Oh, you want to name her? Okay. Yeah, Claire's grandfather. But I know you've done that with the later on in the investigation with the Ouija board, I think it was.
It was a table. It was a glass on a table, I think.
Yeah. It's like a Ouija board, anyhow.
Same concept.
It's called table tipping or something.
Yeah.
Table tipping. Yeah. So I think the start of that contact with the grandfather was Renata hearing it when you guys had the headphones on earlier in the night.
Yeah. That's true.
I can't remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Go and have a look at the episode. Stuck in Space and Cell.
That was pre-COVID, that one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
look, that was creepy, the way you guys were saying the same words.
Yeah. It's also got to do with how our brain interprets the noise, the sound, and not everyone will interpret the same sound the same way. It's like what they do when someone sees a car accident and they ask for people to give witness statements. And you might have 5 people who give witness statements, but all the statements are very different, yet they've all seen the same car accident. So it is about our individuality and how we process information. And that is going to depend on a whole lot of different things. And how does this particular STES method work? How does the SB11 work? Is it contacting spirit, or is it just our brain being able to receive certain signals at a particular time and tap in? We don't know. And that's really the methodology between most of the technology that's available at the moment. Sometimes it works beautifully, and sometimes we're just getting absolute garbage out of it. And the important thing to understand is not to take everything 100% seriously, that it is spirit message, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's miscommunicated or misinterpreted, and it really doesn't mean anything. And so when we do our investigations and when we work with this type of technology, we try to lead the conversation and not be led by the answers that are coming out. So depending on how far we've gotten into it, we try and just keep going at what it is that we are asking. And if you listen, sometimes you will hear me ask the same question 5 or 6 times to see whether an answer will come out. Yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed that. And you the other week were actually explaining not to be led by the answers from the Ovulus, I think it was.
Yeah.
Or the Ghost Boss. Yeah, one or the other. Yeah. Because otherwise your conversation could go astray depending on the answers coming through.
Well, you can make a story. You can actually collect all those words together and make a story out of it and make it fit.
Yeah.
But if you start to you ask a question and they give you the actual answer to that question, that's more interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And we've actually taken that one step further by doing that same methodology, but actually not in the same room. We've actually taken it to a point where some people are in one room listening to the spirit box and telling us the answers when we're asking the questions in a completely different room. So we've actually even created another level of distance. And that's really interesting because we've had some great results with that as well. We tried that at Tomago House last weekend.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
I wonder if you could do one room with a spirit box and one room with a Ouija board.
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I might not hog the phone because I'm sure other people want to ring through. So
Thank you for your
good
questions.
luck. And
Thanks, Shane.
good luck going to Ireland. No
Oh,
worries.
thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Good questions there. It's
Yeah.
I have this weird fascination with the ghost hunting equipment. I think it's the raddest business to own. The fact that all this equipment can make, I don't know if it's making contact, but alluding to the fact that you may not be alone in that room would be such a buzz, because I'm such a tech geek as well. So for me, that would just be like the cherry on top of a really fantastic, like, kind of ghost hunt night.
The thing about it is, and I know Anne's the one that owns the business, but the thing about it is that holding a piece of equipment gives you a sense of safety, that it doesn't seem to be directly coming into what you believe is your body. That is that piece of equipment that is kind of the thing between.
It's external.
You
don't own it. It's not part of you. So you can't, it can be wrong or it can be right, but not me.
Yeah. It's not coming into me. I'm not being possessed. No, it's okay. When in
I haven't
actual
got
fact, it's probably actually what's happening. You've kind of given that you're given a sense of security, which allows you to be more open, which then allows you to get the messages, which you're then blaming on a piece of equipment, but it's actually you that's getting it. You know what I mean? Because
that's a really interesting thought, because I hear it a lot when it comes to the paranormal, is like intention means a lot, and kind of giving like your approval to have these types of interactions. And I wonder, the fact that having that, almost that gatekeeper being the equipment, does genuinely offer a sense of security to people, because I'm under no illusion that, like, everyone is so special that a ghost or an entity or whatever is going to attach themselves and become one with them and live with them, and now that's a problem that follows them everywhere. I would imagine that is like a very tiny slither of what genuinely would ever happen in reality. But it makes me wonder if having that middle ground there is that sense of, like, you can't come past this. Like, that's the line in the sand. We've invited you to this point, but you can't come any further.
yeah, absolutely. TV has a lot to blame for when it comes to this whole idea of being possessed by spirit. And that's
my eyes just hit the back of my skull as they rolled.
Of talking that's required to try and help someone understand a different point of view, and we don't have time for that. And again, that is all about biases and beliefs and everything that goes on with your knowledge base with regard to that. And people have very varied experiences, so it depends on what you've been through. With regard to how you think about that. But absolutely, definitely feeling that you have opened up because you have theoretically given your okay for that to happen is something that's extremely scary for a lot of people still. And we find people, even with their body language, when we're watching them during paranormal investigations, that they may not be prepared to even go there. And we've had people who will say, "No, I won't put that on. No, or they won't go into a place. No, it's too." Yep.
You've got a Ouija board in that room. I'm not going in there.
So, we're not going to press someone to do that, because we just don't have time in the 2 hours we have them to try and explain how the universe was created. Do you know what I mean? It's a long conversation to get anyone to think about, and as I said, all we're asking is for people to think about things differently, to allow themselves the space to maybe consider a different way about something. But in most cases, we don't have a lot of those people. In most cases, we have people who are really keen. And once they sit down and they watch somebody else do it, or they get a little bit of confidence because we've kind of try and create a safe space for them to do it in, they're willing to give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's when you witness how unimposing it may be, it really tears down those pre-built ideologies that you have about the paranormal, because every kind of case and instance is probably different, and you probably would be the two best people to relay that type of information, especially with the private cases that you do, because I would imagine the insecurities, the tension, I guess just the uneasiness of not knowing what is going on can really affect some people. And I guess you coming in there with that decades of experience behind you really does calm those nerves a little bit.
And we're dealing with a completely different space when we do our investigations, as opposed to someone who is dealing with it in a private situation. So dealing with it, in your own home where you're supposed to feel safe and secure, is a completely different thing than coming to a tour where it's all really organized. We go through one space to the next space, and we have a system of doing things. We don't let people stray. We keep control of everything. And so there's a sense of security in that, and knowing that in 2 hours I'm getting out of here and I can forget about it. Very different than living in your home and knowing that at any moment in time you may be the subject of something that's really, really bizarre and very, very scary. And where do you go from there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we take probably on average 50 people a weekend through investigation or a tour. And in all of that time, in those years, I've been running Newcastle Ghost Tours for about 13 years now, the very few people have had really hard instances where something really terrifying has happened and scared them.
We've only had to call the ambulance once, and I'm pretty sure that was actually
Heart attack.
Some sort of medical emergency, and she was associated with a ghost. She was an older lady who had a heart attack a couple of months before.
Yeah.
And she was having chest pains. I went and calling an ambulance. It's not a ghost.
And that's why it's difficult for us to understand when there are other teams that seem to go out and everywhere they go, they encounter something demonic. And you go, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong that there's not a demon around every corner that's going to attack someone, and yet we're doing tours or investigations at least twice a week?
Well, let me tell you, have a look at their YouTube channels and see how many followers and how many views they're getting compared to what we are.
Yeah.
Because they're doing the whole demon thing. There's demons everywhere. There's negative energies everywhere. People are flocking to the channels. They're watching. They're following. They're doing whatever it is they do. And we've still got very modest numbers, because unless it's a Temu unboxing, if it's a Temu unboxing, we've got thousands. But we keep it honest and real. We don't go for the quick buck, the cheap thrill. We just want to keep it as real as we can.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things that the paranormal world has had to probably deal with, especially like within the last 10 years, is the fact of the paranormal is now entertainment.
Yeah,
and
it is.
You get that through movies. You get that through these ghost hunting shows. I swear I turned on Foxtel the other day, and there was about 10 different ones, and they all have about 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, there's a question there for you. Have you ever seen a UFO in real life, and where?
Oh boy, I have. I've seen 2. And one of these, I have to say the F word.
Ooh, no. Well, it's okay. Your studio.
Yeah. So, I'll tell my boring one first, because the boring one was, I was hanging washing up, and it was, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock at night, just doing these really, really mundane, boring house duties. And I'm hanging the clothes up on the line, and I see this light zigzag all the way across the sky in about 2 seconds. Blew my mind, and it was totally, totally incredible. The second one is one that I still don't know where to place this. I'm placing it in, I don't know, UFO, because I feel like it's probably the best place to put this. You two might be able to give me a little bit more insight about it. So one night I was interviewing a lady who claimed that she has had multiple encounters with fairies. And the way that she described it, they were kind of like these, they didn't look like people, they were like different types of creatures, and they kind of identified themselves as like dragonflies, butterflies, and stuff like that. Like they had this way of showing themselves to different people in different ways. So she said she would regularly see a fairy there, while her partner or her friend would see like a butterfly or a dragonfly or something like that. And she was completely adamant, like, this is exactly what they do. They show themselves in whatever way that they want, and take that for what you will. However, the crazy thing was, half an hour after I did that interview, I took my dog outside so he could go do his business. And in the bushes in my backyard, there was this blue orb. It would have been about, I don't know, that big, the size of a 50-cent coin from where I saw it. So it would have been about 2 or 3 meters away. And it was like the blue of my background here. It was
Oh, wow.
incredibly intense. But the light wasn't escaping it. So it wasn't like illuminating the bushes around it or anything. It was just so completely self-contained. And on the inside of it, it looked like, do you know those Tesla kind of like plasma ball things, like where there's the electricity in the middle
Yep.
and all
Yeah.
these arcs are coming off?
Yeah.
It was like a mini version of that, but it was blue. It was completely silent, and it was there for, I would
I
say,
don't know what it is.
a minute, and
We've
then
done, yeah.
it fizzled out. Like, it didn't like explode out. It just kind of like dissipated out, and I had no idea what to think of that.
So that is something that's called ball lightning, and it's actually been seen throughout the world. And I think it's to do with something to do with environmental conditions at the time, and they don't have a proper explanation for it yet. They're just guessing what it is because they can't get hold of it to study it. But if you search on YouTube for ball lightning, you will see stories about it. But we also, in the True Hauntings podcast, we discovered one at the Tower of London. They'd had this ball of light that sort of moved through the family room and out through a door and then dissipated. And it was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yes, ball
Yeah,
lightning can appear indoors. Yes, it can.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't know what to make of it. I didn't know what it was. And it's weird because a lot of people, when they hear UFO sightings, they say it looks like a jellyfish in there. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what this also looked like. It was just like, because it wasn't like just a few. There was like hundreds of these, I don't know, arcs of electricity, jellyfish tentacles, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm not going to dive too deep on the speculation, but that's what I saw. It was truly incredible.
And Daniela, it could be what is known as a will o' the wisp, or will o' wisp. It's we interpret it through the knowledge that we've gained over the years. So because I've learned about ball lightning, I'm now interpreting that as ball lightning. And I know that you love your creatures and your little, we won't say them. So that's how you would interpret it. And it doesn't mean that I'm right or you're wrong or anything. It's just an interpretation. Diana wanted to know the color of what saw matters. Does the color matter of these things?
I would probably say no, because a lot of the New Age stuff tends to put color in as a energetic interpretation.
It's a
So
woo-woo.
they might say if it's red, it's angry. If it's black, it's demonic. If it's white, it's angelic. So again, it's got a lot to do with the belief systems behind why colors are interpreted in that way. But for me, that kind of doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's got no scientific background to that. But yeah, I know that New Agey stuff often interprets colors into particular energetic forms or emotions or whatever. I've got a hard time reconciling that. I really do.
Safe to
Can
say.
it last 20 minutes? I'm not
Sorry.
sure. I honestly don't know if it could last for 20 minutes or longer. Michelle, no idea. I haven't studied it that much.
No, fair enough. But yeah, those are my rather interesting UFO encounters, and
Yeah,
it
they're
always
interesting.
yeah, definitely. So, but guys, we are basically at the end of tonight's live stream. So I want to thank you for hanging out. It's been super fun
That went
chatting
so
with you.
quick.
It always does.
Thanks for having us.
But before I let you go, where can all my people find you? And I guess I should probably give myself a plug as well, because
Please do.
there's
Please do.
more of your people watching. So for your people who are watching, head on over to believepod.com. All the information for my podcast is down below. There is a whole bunch of episodes that you can go and download for free on any of your podcast playing apps of choice. And we cover the full spectrum of the weird and the unusual, be that ghosts, hauntings, unexplained paranormal activity, Yowies, UFOs, alien abductions, absolutely everything. So if you're into that, go check out the Believe podcast, and I think you would have a really good time. And one thing I forgot to mention is that every episode I'm actually interviewing someone who has had an encounter with whatever the episode is about. So you're hearing it from the actual experiencer firsthand, and I kind of ask some questions along the way. So it's rather interesting.
Cool. And where can you find us? We have 3 podcasts: the True Hauntings podcast, the Diary of a Ghost Hunter podcast, and the Spooky Sundays radio show podcast. And we also have our YouTube channel, and we're going to, as we said, heading over to Ireland and England. We're also going to Prague and Germany, Norfolk Island and New Orleans, all in this year. So if you want to watch our travels and what we do, head over to the Anne and Renata Frightfully Good Ghost Grannies YouTube channel. And we are actually going to get a brand new website where all of this stuff will be in the one location instead of scattered all over the interwebs. It's being built right now.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for having me. And look, I can't wait to do this again, because you guys are always such fun to hang out with. And thank you to all the viewers, the people commenting, who've been chatting along the way. It's been great hanging out with you guys too.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
And yeah, good night, everyone.
Yep.
See you on the
Bye.
dark side. Bye.
Bye.